Hey all, EC here, and today I want to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. It's been 2 months since obviously this console hit the market, and I want to talk about, whether or not I think it's worth buying 2 months in. So 2 months in, guys, we've had 3 new exclusive Switch 2 games, those being Welcome Tour, because it exists, Mario Kart World, which people seem to be, it's not bad from what I've heard, but it seems people didn't, enjoy it as much as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So there's that game. You have Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is currently, the big game, getting everyone's attention for Nintendo's first party lineup. Oh, and also, actually, no, it's 4, because we have Mario Party Jamboree, Super Mario Party Jamboree TV. And yeah, they're like the 4 games we've had. I'll say 4. Jamboree TV plus the Zelda remaster. So technically there's 7 new first party games, but 3 of them are just basically DLC upgrades. So, with that out of the way, what third parties have we seen? We've seen third party stuff for Sonic the Hedgehog, Cyberpunk 2077. So, Bravely Default. It's not a bad third party lineup from what I've seen either, but apparently third parties are struggling on Switch 2. I'm not surprised because Nintendo has always sort of been the best seller on their own console. No one really buys a Nintendo platform to buy third-party games. They mainly buy a Nintendo platform to buy Nintendo games. And the Nintendo Switch was so successful because people had it as a secondary console as well as a primary console. So many people who are PC gamers, or they were Xbox or PlayStation gamers, they all ended up having, or loads of them had Switches because it was just such a unique and interesting idea. And obviously, it was so helpful to actually have one of them as well around in case you want to play a game on the go. Remember the Switch 1, Switch 2, very different, circumstances, because now obviously we have stuff like the Steam Deck and Logitech G Cloud and all these other handheld PCs and stuff. So it's a very different market now. Now, what do I think is what do I really think? Do I think the Switch 2 is worth buying? Well, the thing is, I bought the Switch 2. I got a pre-order back in April, and I got picked up on launch day. And realistically, I feel like if you're going to buy a Switch 2, you've got to kind of try and justify the price. For the UK, it's £430 for the Mario Kart bundle, if they're even still doing that. And it's a just under £400 for, obviously, the base tier. So £430 for the Mario Kart bundle, and £400 for roughly the standard just Switch 2. And now, obviously, you need to have a physical... if you have a big library of games, or if it be physical or digital for the Switch 1, you should be alright, because you will have, obviously, a lot of stuff to play. But then again, some games will run better on the Switch 2, like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But then also it comes with, if you're buying this new upgrade to run your already existing games that you have better, that's just kind of I get it, I do understand that, I do understand it. But how do you justify that price of, I'm gonna buy this new console to make this game I bought 2 years ago work better instead of one I've already got, which I don't know how you justify that to, your family, your friends and whatnot. And I know, people have different circumstances and stuff. They might be minted, or they might not have a lot of money, and they got to try and justify it. It is what it is. And then you also just got to look at it as, the exclusive features of the Switch 2 aren't that interesting, in my opinion. It seems like there's a lot less features for the Switch 2 that we would have been excited about. For example, the mouse mode. The mouse mode is cool and all, but at the time of making this video, there is barely any games where that's featured, and also the ones that do feature it are Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo or Switch Online app, which that's a cool little game. It's cool to have that, but they could have made it work with a touchscreen. Let's be real, and they could have made the mouse mode. I mean, the mouse mode is cool, and I know Metro Prime 4 is going to use it, but there's a new game coming out soon. Where it's Wheelchair Basketball, Drag X Drive, I believe it's called. That game's gonna have the mouse be primarily. I think that's exclusively the mouse actually. But besides those few games, and I think there's the odd other game like Welcome Tour and stuff that have the mouse mode featured. I'm not really sure many other games are really using it. Likewise as well, I do feel the GameCube app, which is obviously exclusive to Switch 2 for Switch Online expansion pack subscribers. So if you have a Switch 1, you're kind of out of luck with that. There's 4 games on there currently, which isn't too bad. But I do genuinely feel if they had a few more games on there, it'd probably be worth don't get just to play the GameCube stuff, because obviously GameCube games are insanely pricey. But then you also got to just think, like, what is the best circumstance for you? Because, for example, if your Switch 1 broke, or you need to get a second Switch, because obviously, you got like a kid, or you got like, a family friend, or you got a roommate or something that you want to play the games with you. I mean, you should just get a Switch 2 in that regard, because obviously, yeah, then you can have like that as your primary Switch, and you have the other Switch as like a backup, or like have it as, like their Switch, or like your kid's Switch, or your roommates or something, whatever. But then if you're not really in that sort of circumstance, and you don't really want to use it to run some Switch 1 games better, and you're not interested in the first party games they've put out so far, then realistically, I don't really see the point in you buying a Switch 2, to be honest. And I do feel like by the end of the year, Nintendo will have had a good first party lineup that will justify the price to a lot of people. And I feel like at the minute, it doesn't really have that justifiable library. It's got some great games, obviously, but the library just isn't that justifiable as of right now to spend the money on it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, turn notifications, all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to hit, 1 billion subscribers, so make sure you subscribe, because I need to hit 10 billion subscribers by the end of the year. Yeah, I've been EC, and I'm signing out. Peace.